Hi, my name is Ann Elliott. I'm the creator and founder of HomeschoolingTorah.com. And for this last session, I hope you'll pull up a chair, get a nice yummy drink. You know what? It's almost Sabbath, but we're going to talk about housekeeping, the basics of how to do it. You'll need your Bible for just one or two small passages because we're going to get really practical in this session, and I'm not probably going to do much scripture. But I hope you'll enjoy learning about the basics of housekeeping as we close out our 2022 Homeschool Family Conference. I said I wasn't going to read much scripture, so let's get started with the only passage that at this moment the Holy Spirit has brought to my mind. And that is, as I get to be an older woman, and I'm 9 years older this week than I was when Homeschooling Torah started. That's almost a whole decade. I am close to 50, very, very close. And I'm starting to feel old. I'm not quite as old as that widow woman who's 60 and has completely finished all of her bringing up children and all of the things that made her so well known for her good deeds. I still got another 11, 12 years before I'm going to be there. But I'm starting to feel a little bit older than I used to. So I look at Titus 2 as the model for what I want to be like. I even wrote this passage in my planner, and I get a new planner every 3 months. I'm a little weird that way, but I like to rewrite all my goals, and this is definitely one of them. I want to be one of those older women who says in Titus 2 verse 3, the older women likewise that they be reverent in behavior, not slanderers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they admonish the young women to love their husbands and to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, homemakers, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be blasphemed. And I write that down in my planner, and I look at it every Sunday morning when I look through my goals for the week. And I try to say, okay, how can I do just one of the things on the list that week? And it's so convicting, and it helps me really remember. And you know what else is convicting? Some of the things on the young woman list, I still have to work on. I'm not quite old, but I'm not really young. I'm pretty much older than a lot of people. And yet some days I really need to work on loving my children and loving my husband, and definitely the homemaker part, because this has never been my strength. I put this as the last session because I figured as we get close to Sabbath, it brings us, as we come to the close of a week each week, and we're homeschooling our kids and we're doing all those great and lofty things that we think are so important. As we get close to Sabbath, I don't know, it's almost like our hearts return back to the home. And well, on top of the fact is we have to prep for 2 days off. Like sometimes we work really, really hard on the 6th day of the week just so we can rest. And sometimes resting means I'm so tired after dinner on Friday evening, the sun has gone down, that I fall asleep on the couch or even just go straight to bed. Depends if we have company or not. But sometimes I'm just so tired. I'm like, why did we work so hard? I'm so tired. But it teaches me that I need to get better. I need to get more efficient. I need to do a better job. So next week I can go into Sabbath maybe not quite as exhausted. It's a skill that I'm working on. When I was a young mom, I really wasn't very good at homemaking, and honestly didn't care. I didn't want to be a homemaker. I wanted to be a career woman and do all kinds of cool things with my life. And so as I got married, I worked for the first couple years until I got pregnant. And then I got pregnant and I came home to be a mom because I knew that was important. And I wanted to do that for my son. And I wasn't able to do it the entire time. Sometimes I did have to work for small little things for a few months here and there. As my oldest was a young baby, his first year, I did work a job here and there. And I hated it. I wanted to be the one home with my son. So I have a little bit of an entrepreneurial streak, so I became a piano teacher. And the Father helped me greatly with that, brought just the right students to me. We had 30 students, up to 35 at the peak. And so I was able to make some extra income to be able to afford to be a stay-at-home mom and supplement my husband's income. He was in college full-time and working nights at Walmart. So we weren't rich. And yet that was how I was able to be a stay-at-home mom. But one of the things that I really struggled with, I loved being able to get up in the morning and open up the blinds and see the sun come in and go, I don't have to go to work today. I did have students coming, but I didn't have to go to work that day. It's awesome. Then I turn around and look at my house and go, ooh, it's a wreck. And I have piano students coming at 3 o'clock. I have till then to get this cleaned up, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to do the dishes. I didn't want to. I wanted to play around. I wanted to read books. I wanted to do stuff with my son, like go to the park and have fun times. And so I would wait until about 2:30 and then try to clean my whole house before a student got there, and that doesn't work very good. And should I tell you on YouTube where people could watch this that I might throw some of the dirty dishes in the oven and then make it look like I'd actually done the dishes, but I hadn't. And the reason I didn't put him, I had a dishwasher. You know why I didn't put him in there? Because I hadn't ever remembered to turn it on. It was full of dirty dishes because I was a terrible housekeeper. And the laundry would get piled up, and instead of folding the laundry like a logical thing and actually putting it away in the dresser, I would just shove it all in my bedroom and close the door because I didn't want to. And so I had to learn, and I am thankful for the people that came around me and taught me skills. My parents, my mother and mother-in-law is what I mean. My grandparents were mostly gone by that point, but I was able to at least think back to how did they do it and hear stories of how they did it, and it was very helpful. So there were a couple things that I have learned, and these things I have learned through the School of Hard Knocks and sometimes an occasional library book that I checked out too, because that was my answer. We didn't have the internet back then, not really, so I would check out library books on how to clean the house, and I've learned, and I would like to help you so that you can be a mom, so that you can enjoy being home with your kids, so that you don't have to feel that stress and pressure, so that you can find things, so that you don't have the mental and visual clutter, okay? So here are some of my top tips. So my first tip is pretty obvious, but it's not that easy to do, and that is to have a place for everything and everything in its place. You can't clean up your house and get rid of the clutter or even get a system if you don't have any place to put things. And you know, I think this is crazy that in our society we've been talking about the economics of our world and how we got to be so prosperous in the first place, but and how that's going to kind of tank in time if this keeps up, if everything keeps going the way it is. One of the problems is we just have so much stuff. I have more stuff than my parents did. And my kids have stuff. They have toys. We have so many clothes. I can get clothes really cheap. So I have a lot of clothes. Maybe people watching this video in other parts of the world won't have the abundance that we have in America. But the problem we have in America is we don't have anywhere to put it all. And so that just builds up and the stress builds up. And you have to ask yourself, do we need it all? Do we really want it all? And so I really advise that you go through the things in your home, and even if you don't struggle with clutter and you're already a seasoned homemaker, do put on your calendar every once in a while to just go through the closets, go through the storage, you know, just rethink, what am I doing at this season in life? Do I need this? Could it be repurposed? Could it be given to someone else who could use it? And don't be a burden to all the stuff. List activities that are done in each room, okay? So what do you use that room for? Like I get maybe a small spiral notebook for planning out if I'm really doing a big organizational project. And I would go room by room and I would ask myself, what do we as a family do in this room? And I would have my kids help me with this because they're going to think of things they do in that room. Like, for instance, if a child likes to just sit in that room and play with his cars, and you change all the furniture around and he doesn't have his spot anymore, that might not go over so well. So be thoughtful to those that are living in your home with you, to your husband. What are his wishes for, his home, and how does he wish each room could be used? And then list out all those activities, because all of those activities are going to have supplies. You need supplies to do activities. And so what you're going to have to think to yourself is, where am I going to put those supplies away at? A place for everything and everything in its place. So you have to think, what are all the things and all the activities, and where in the world am I going to put it all at when we're done? So that I don't have it always staring at me, okay? I need to be able to put it in a home, put it away, and then eliminate all the rest. So when I say eliminate all the rest, anything that's not needed in that room for an activity that happens in that room needs to be put somewhere else, unless the purpose is storage for some other activity. But generally speaking, try to keep the activities to the rooms they're in, to the best of your ability. I have a really small house, so I understand how that goes. We have 1,400 square feet and 9 people. That's a pretty small house, so I do get it. Sometimes I store things in a room where we don't do the activity, but generally speaking, I try really hard to keep the activities in the room where we're going to do them, and then eliminate the rest, meaning you might have to shuffle around some things, shuffle around the furniture, and rethink some of the other rooms. So this is a process. Getting through all of this is not something that happens overnight, okay? You're going to eliminate everything else except one thing, and that's the beautiful. Keep the beautiful. And by beautiful, I definitely mean scripture. Putting scripture on your walls, putting pictures of your family and those you love, putting mementos that are very special, things that will remind you to live a righteous life, putting the 10 Commandments by the door. All of those things are beautiful, and they do serve a purpose. They serve a purpose which is helping you think about things that are lovely and true and pure. And I did another Bible verse, and I didn't even have it up, but you know what I'm talking about. Those are the things that should stay in the room as long as they don't add to the clutter. Now, if they can be multifunctional, that's even better. Like if they can serve a purpose and be beautiful, wow, that's the best. Have storage solutions for things. Don't just put them, because the visual clutter gets to you, especially when you're home all the time with your children, homeschooling. Visual clutter starts to add up. So I really recommend that you put it inside a basket, put it inside a container. When we moved to our home right now, we didn't have much furniture. We were preparing to live out on the road in a bus that we had converted into a home, and so we'd gotten rid of almost all of our furniture. The father brought us here to Michigan, and when we got this home, we didn't have a couch or chairs. We didn't have much of anything. So what we did is we've been slowly getting there, and that's been 8 years that we've been in this home. So we just went out to a thrift store, bought the cheapest stuff we could get. I think we paid like $40 for a couch that was pretty beat up, and we've upgraded a few times now. But what we're going for is for my husband to make our own furniture all throughout the house that serves a double purpose. So that, like, for instance, we're going to put benches around the edges of our dining room that open up, and underneath the seats we can have storage for all kinds of things that I want to put in my dining room, and my dining room is very small. So that's going to be really fun. That's something that we are continually working on too. So I don't have all of this just perfect in my current home, because we started at zero, but which is where we all start, right? But as we think about redoing each of the rooms and remaking the furniture, or going to a thrift store and repurposing furniture, or purchasing it brand new, we want to be very intentional about what purpose does it serve. When you get ready to buy a new thing, you're out and being tempted to purchase something for your home, ask yourself, is this going to serve a purpose? Is it going to go in the room where we're going to do the activity? Am I going to have to store it somewhere? And is it beautiful? Is it going to remind me to live a beautiful life, a life that pleases my Heavenly Father? All right, so as you're decluttering and as you're planning, you've got your spiral notebook, you're writing down all the purposes, you're maybe drawing a floor plan, a simple one, and figuring out where you're going to put stuff, what materials are you going to need, and supplies. You're also going to have to get rid of things. So this is the way you do it. You're gonna have 4 containers, okay, as you clean out clutter. And I kind of have these permanently in my home. I don't always keep them out though and about. I have a spot where I put this stuff. But you're going to have a container for the things that you're going to use. You're going to have a container for the things that you want to keep, but you're not going to be using in that room. So in other words, it's going to have to go somewhere else. And you have a container for the things you want to give away to someone else because you don't want it or need it in your home, but you know of someone that could be blessed by that. I don't think you should go burdening all the other homeschool families with all your junk unless that you know that they actually need it, okay? Because you're just going to add to their clutter problem, okay? But if you can't find any of those, you can't find a thrift store to donate it to, you just can't find anyone to give it to, then, or maybe you could even have a garage sale pile. I don't like doing garage sales, but I didn't even remember that one when I wrote down my list, but you could have a garage sale pile too. And then you want a spot to put things that you're going to throw away. And that's usually for me a big black garbage bag so I can get it right out of the house, okay? So you're going to, as you're cleaning out that room, you're going to put things in those 4 containers. The things that you're going to keep in that room that you're going to be using, you can put in a container, eliminate all the other stuff, and now go back to that first container and now put everything where it belongs. And you're doing it without any clutter. So I like to do one room at a time. This takes time. These are fun projects for summer days, or just plan into your school year schedule a time to take a week off and just do a house project that week and get yourself comfortable in your own home and get rid of the clutter. But you're also going to want to have a time to schedule this every day. So as you declutter every day, and this should be a time, and this does not take much time. This is a simple walk through the house. You're going to pick up the things that do not belong in that spot, and you're going to walk them to the place that they do belong, and you're going to put them there. Even better, you're going to give it to your child who left it there, and you're going to tell them to go put it where it belongs. So everything has to have a place, and then you need to have a time every day where you can put things back in their places, okay? The best of all would be to train your children to do it immediately, but we all have times where we have to set something down, and we just need that daily declutter time, okay? As far as whose job is it going to be to keep all this up, you can delegate things to your kids, okay? Don't do it all yourself, Mom. It's not right. First of all, you'll be too tired. But second of all, you're not a slave. And third of all, you are a teacher, and you need to teach your children. So don't delegate, or don't try to do it all yourself without delegating. But I would recommend that before you delegate it to your children, before you assign them a new job, if you've never kind of gotten the hang of how to do that job yourself, that you take it on yourself at first for a while and learn kind of the efficient way of doing it. Do the research, and then bring your child along and teach them. Do it together for a season, and then delegate it. Don't just assign it, because you might get a little bit of bitterness over that one, okay? Okay, so you need a place for everything, and you also need a time for everything, okay? That means that daily upkeep that I was just talking about, you need to put it on your schedule. You need to be consistent about it. It needs to be non-negotiable. You need to know, everyone in the house needs to know that it will happen, okay? Put old things away before you get out new projects. So when you're using your space that you have gotten all organized and nice, you will quickly find that it goes right back to the mess it was before unless you get into the habit of putting things away before you get new things out. Now think about this as a small child, a really small little baby who's sitting up or maybe learning to crawl. You can put them in a pack and play, and they can learn to play with their toys. But before they get out to go play somewhere else in the house at the end of their little playpen time, you teach your child to put their toys back in the little container, and then you lift them out of the pack and play, and together you take the container over to the toy shelf and put it away. See, you're modeling that to your child. And the whole time, because if you never grew up with that skill yourself, you're thinking, man, I should have done that. I didn't put away the pot that I cooked dinner out of last night. It's still sitting on top of the stove. So moms, we need to do this ourselves. Put something away before you get out something new. Now, a classic time for this is at the end of your school day. You've been doing school all day. You need to put away all your school supplies before you return to the normal world. Even more, When you finish math, put away the math manipulatives before you go on to, say, phonics, okay, which has its own set of manipulatives, all right? So put things away. Don't have a table full of school supplies that now you have this mountain of things to put away at the end of the day when you're tired. Put them away throughout the day. When everyone takes a break to get a snack, clean up the counters, wipe everything off, throw away the garbage, rinse off the dishes, put them in the dishwasher, and then go back to school. It adds a little bit of time, but it adds also that mental peace. That's what I'm going for. Peace, before it's just so much better. Projects that you're working on that maybe take more time than you can put them away every night. For instance, my daughter who's sewing a beautiful dress. It's a Renaissance dress. It's gorgeous. It's velvet. It's going to be beautiful. It's got like 7 or 8 yards of fabric. There is no way she can put that away after working on it for an hour. It would take too long. So projects need their own dedicated area. And if you don't have a house that's big enough for dedicated areas for projects, then you're going to have to discipline yourself to only work on one project at a time. I have this problem. I'm writing curriculum, and sometimes I want to write like 10 different curriculum at the same time, and I have all the different research books, and I would have no room to sit at my desk because of all the books everywhere. So I have to try to discipline myself to work on one thing at a time, use all those books, find all the stuff I want out of it, get it all down into my notes, and then put the books away where they belong, which is not by my office because I don't have space right there. It's right in my front room. So it happens to all of us. Projects, you have to think about where is the project going to live. So for time, you need a time to work on that project, or it's just going to sit there and you're never going to get back around to it. And yes, that's part of housekeeping, right? Projects are part of what we are good at and why he made us. So it's like we're made in his image. We want to create things. But you need to figure out a time on your schedule to work on those projects, or otherwise the stress of having these projects you want to work on and never having the time to do it just starts to eat at you and you just feel grumpy. So these are all things, as we've been thinking about schedules and time management, I hope I'm giving you ideas of things to make sure they're on your list, okay? I hope you're not done with your list. We only did that like a day or two ago, so I want you to be thinking over weeks, all the things that you want to put on your schedule, and projects definitely need to be on there. Teach your little ones how to clean up. If you use disposable diapers, your little ones can throw them away. If you use cloth diapers, your children can learn where to put the dirty ones and how to clean things out. Little babies can learn to clean, okay? Obviously, as their learning ability, it's more you helping them, but don't do it all for them. Making the bed. You need to have a time for making the bed every morning, a time for chores. I love having a chore chart for my children where they can see a visual picture of each thing that they need to do. And they love going and working down that chart in the same order every morning. We had those same chore charts on our walls for like 10 years or probably more, goodness, because I'm thinking probably 14 or 15 years maybe even that we had the same chore charts on the wall, and they have become ingrained in us, and we make our beds in the morning. And so help your children, they don't have to have a fancy bedroom. They can just pull up a comforter and put their pillows on. I have a fancier bedroom myself. I love to have lots of pillows in a big fancy bed that I make. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy beautiful things. So does my husband. So that to me is fine. It adds an extra 2 minutes to my making my bed. I don't even think it adds that much. So that's all right for me. But I can teach my younger ones to just have a simple bed and a simple way of making their bed. And they can do that as soon as they are old enough to be walking and be in a bed, right? That 3-4 years old. Teach your older ones to, as they reach maturity and start to move out and go to jobs, teach them to maintain their home life. That just working a job somewhere doesn't mean it alleviates the responsibility of home. Isn't that an important thing? Like, that's a struggle for some of us. When we leave home, we think that we're never going to have to do anything at home again, but we still have a lawn to mow. We still have groceries to buy. We still have food to prep. We still have the bathroom to clean. All of those things, even though your children have jobs, they still have to come home and they have to do their jobs at home too. It's part of being in a family. We all work together. So you can teach your kids how to do all of those things. What about when we forget to do a job? Do we yell at each other and get mad? No. We remind each other, and we have chore charts, and we have lists, and we have set up times on our schedule, and that helps us get into a routine and rhythm. The routine and the rhythm will help us not forget things, and that takes time. It takes time to build, and just about the time you've got it built, life changes a little bit and you have to tweak it. And so like I said the other day with time management, you might want to revisit everything about every 3 months. That seems to be what it is. But you need to make sure that if you go around the house and you find that someone hasn't done a job, first check and make sure they had the tools and the supplies and that everything has a place for it, because we often find that kids aren't doing a job like cleaning the bathroom because maybe they ran out of paper towels and they forgot to ask, go down to the basement and get some more. So check that everything in the system is in place, and if not, you might need to apply some consequences. Like if they didn't do their job and it was simply, it wasn't just a one-time forgetfulness that they're not characterized by, but they're actually just kind of their character is slipping, then you're going to have to apply consequences, and maybe they need to do more jobs. As it says in Scripture, see, I thought of another verse. As it says in Scripture, a man who will not work shall not eat. So that's a great consequence. You can't have supper until you've done your job. Simple as that. Very motivating to have a hungry stomach. The occasional jobs are sometimes difficult to fit into our routine. So those occasional jobs, one of the things I like to do is have a 3x5 card box. And I know this sounds old-fashioned, but it really works. And holy cow, I have a snake. There is a snake right over there in the grass, and he is coming my way. Wonder if I can get him on video. So welcome to the Elliott home. There he is. Can you see him in the grass? He's just a garter snake, nothing too bad. I mean, he's not going to hurt me. He's great for our garden. I absolutely love him for the garden. He probably knows I'm here. I'm going to stomp my feet a little bit so he knows not to come my way, because while I'm not scared of him, I really don't want him to come my way, which he is coming my way. Okay, there's my tripod. He's pretty close. Oh my. Here he goes. You think he's going to pass me? This is exciting. Here's my chair right there. He's pretty close to me. Probably about 2 feet. Good, he's going off to the wood pile. That's a good spot for him. Goodbye, Mr. Snake. Oh, so my friend is gone, and now I hear thunder. As we are getting to the end of the conference, and we're getting a couple days of thunder and thunderstorms in the forecast, so I guess I better hurry up and wrap it up. If not, I guess I'll go inside. We were talking about getting a 3x5 card box and putting occasional jobs into it. And what I like to do, and you can get this at an office supply store, or you can make it yourself from a piece of cardstock or whatever. Be creative, don't have to be expensive. But I like to get a 12 dividers, one for every month of the year. And then I like to write all of those big occasional jobs, such as Passover cleaning would definitely be one, but cleaning the carpets, getting the animals to the vet, just all those occasional jobs that need to be done around the house. Here in Michigan, we got to clean out the gutters at the end of the fall. When all the leaves fall, we got to clean all those out. So just all those occasional jobs, I like to put those on a 3x5 card and then put them in behind the month where they belong. And then you need, you know what I'm going to say, you need a time in your schedule for it where you have like maybe 2 hours or so. And I like to do this on a non-school day. So like for instance, a Sunday is a great time to do those jobs around the home or around the yard. And you can look in your box, look at the month that it is, and say, oh yeah, we need to do those jobs. And it'll remind you year after year, and you can add to them, you can move them around, so it's not like set in stone, but it helps you remember the things that you can do. And of course, if you prefer software, there's cool software that can do this too, like Nosby is a cool one. It's free. You can get the free version anyway. There's lots of management software that you can use, but you don't have to get that fancy. 3x5 cards are really easy. Let's talk about Passover for a second. I will put a link in the handout and under the video so that you can get some really cool resources for preparing for Passover. But we like to clean out the house at that time. I don't know that it's necessarily a command to spring clean your house. So keep that in mind for some seasons of your life. We might be having a new baby right by Passover. How are you going to do that? Or you might have a death in the family, or you just never know. So don't think of it as a command so much as, getting the yeast out of your kitchen. I can see that as a command. And not eating the yeast, that's absolutely a very important command we need to obey. But, checking for yeast under the bedroom, under the rug in the bedroom might not be as priority. It might not be exactly what the Father intended. Having said that, it makes a very natural time to clean the house. Just felt something on my leg and thought it was a snake. The other thing is before Sukkot in the fall is a great time to do another simple house cleaning. And then maybe in the winter, if you live in a winter season, maybe if you celebrate Hanukkah, that might be a good time to do just a simple cleaning and to change the decor, to the new season. But those are all things to stick in that box. So you're basically going to need a list of every cleaning job that you have. One of the things that we do in our family, besides those occasional jobs, the weekly jobs and the daily jobs, my husband bought a picture frame at a local thrift store, and it had glass on it, and we took out the picture that was in there. We didn't care about that, and we printed out from the computer a list of all the jobs that need to be done in our home every week, and then we slid it in behind the glass and hang it on the wall. And that is, we can take a dry erase marker and mark off week after week. We can just get on a routine. We can't remember who's in charge of lunch dishes on Tuesday. Go look at the list and we find out, oh, that's right, you are. And they go, oh, it's Tuesday. Okay, I got to go do the dishes. And that list can be the boss, and it's really kind of nice. It keeps everybody on target and means that you remember what your plan was. I have a second one right next to it. And this one is my Sabbath prep one. Sabbath, it feels like it's a job of its own. So I gave it its own. So we have these two picture frames right next to each other. Just for the fun of it, I'll show you the rest. We have a calendar up here that is also a picture frame, and I inserted a calendar behind the picture. You can get that printed at your local office supply store. And then you can just write on that month's calendar. And of course I have biblical calendars and other things in my kitchen as well. But those just keep on task who's doing what, so that you don't have to remember it all. Remember, habits, get it on autopilot. You don't want to have to hold all that information in your brain, and you don't have to rewrite it all in your planner all the time either. As you're doing housekeeping, and as we wrap up this conference and we think about all the things that we do in our life, from the Bible times and the times we are having family devotions and the times that we are teaching our children academic subjects, the times we're working in the garden, the times that we're doing the meal prep and we're doing the errands and the grocery shopping, and the times we're with our friends, all of these things, besides the upkeep of the home and the mowing the lawn and everything, you need to make sure in your housekeeping routine that you have time to eliminate the mental clutter. And I know Sabbath is our rest day, but you might need more than that, Mom. You might need times that you rest and you get away from it all, whether that's getting in the bathroom, like the proverbial thing, closing the bathroom door, or whether it's sitting on the back porch with a cup of coffee early in the morning before the rest of the family wakes up and seeing the sunrise. That works. Too much noise and mental distraction can make you one tired mama. So get your quiet time, get your alone time. And then when your family wakes up and you're doing things with them, be all there. Put your phone away. Don't talk to your friends. The best feature on my iPhone is do not disturb. I have my older adult kids. They can get through my do not disturb, and a couple really key people in my life, they can get through. But the rest of the world has to wait, because I want to be there with my children. I want to be talking to them. I want to be spending my time with them. And then when that's done, I want to be in the kitchen getting my prep work done, and I want to be all there too. So, and when I'm working on the computer and writing curriculum and answering emails and doing all of those things, I want to be all there. I don't want to have this multitasking, trying to handle everything in life at the same time. Whatever you're doing, be all there. When you're resting, be all there. Leave your troubles behind. Does that make sense? It helps a lot with the housekeeping and with the mental clutter that happens as a mom. You have a lot to keep track of, and let's not deny that that's true. You are the teacher. Remember that you are not just teaching math and science and literature and all of those things, but you are teaching home management for your children. And I don't mean just the girls. The guys need to learn home management as well. First of all, it will help them choose a wife. Second of all, it will help them appreciate their wife and their mother. Thirdly, they just simply need it because they are the manager above the home manager. Do you know what I mean? This home belongs to my husband. This land, all of these things belongs to him, and I am his suitable helper. So teach your sons how to be that manager. He's going to have to buy a home someday. Help him learn how to manage all of the things in it so that he can be wise in his investment and in his inheritance that he's going to give to his wife and to his children. Lead by example. And this is a saying that in home management, my husband taught it to me and I love it. I've said it before. Don't expect what you do not inspect. Don't expect what you don't inspect. When you give your children the job of cleaning, and this goes for math too, when you give them a job in the home, make sure that you inspect it to see that it was done up to your standards, okay? Don't just send them off. And I have really struggled in this area. I don't know why this was so hard for me. Probably because when I'm somewhere, I'm all there. So I send off my kids to do a job. Maybe they're going to clean their rooms and I'm going to start answering emails and I forget all about them. They're out of sight, out of mind. And so then sometimes they might be tempted to not do the best job that they could on their cleaning and on their jobs. So I have to set a timer on my phone that says 10 minutes, I'll be, hey Siri, I want to make sure that I am reminded in 10 minutes to go and check on my kids and make sure that they did the job that I asked them to do. So here are the jobs that we do in the Elliott house just to give you some ideas, okay? Daily, we make our beds. First thing, make our beds. We put our dirty clothes away. We wipe down all the counters and sinks and toilets in the bathroom, and that goes for daily as we go into the kitchen as well. We wipe down the table too after a meal. We clean our kitchen right away. We vacuum and sweep as often as is necessary. I put that on the daily list because we have 9 people, so we have to vacuum and sweep more often than maybe you would. My mom lives by herself and she doesn't have to do it every day. But it needs to be on the schedule as often as necessary so we're not walking around on crunch, 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 Cleaning up the toys, and for us older people, our projects. Rules about where the food goes. What I mean by this is we have rules about where people can eat the food so that they are not creating work for somebody else. So maybe Johnny has the job of doing the vacuuming and Susie comes in and eats crackers. Is it Johnny's job to now go clean up because he has the vacuuming job that week? No, that's not right. Susie should clean up her own stuff. And you probably should have a rule about where she eats those crackers so that Johnny doesn't have to clean up for her mess. That's just loving our neighbor as ourselves. How about our school stuff? Making sure that our school stuff is put away, and also in the morning that it gets back out again, so that the kids are at the table at the time I told them that school would start. They need to be there ready to go with their school stuff, and often I'll give them a chapter book or something to be reading, and they like to do that while they're waiting for me to get to the table also. How about mail that comes in the door? How about the newspaper that gets put on the front porch? Paperwork that people bring home needs to be signed and returned. Amazon boxes, constantly having to deal with Amazon boxes and putting away the things that come inside the Amazon boxes. How about kitty litter or taking care of your animals, doggy do, and all of the farm animals, if you have those, they all have to be taken care of. Watering the plants, watering the garden, unless it rains, which it's going to rain soon. So those are a lot of our daily jobs in our house. We also have the weekly jobs. Those are your the things that you're doing before Sabbath, your big cleaning jobs. And sometimes I like to put a lot of my daily jobs, like for instance, dusting and like cleaning under the couch cushions and things like that. I like to have a day to put those. And then we have our seasonal jobs. Make sure that you have that. I like to put a lot of these housekeeping jobs where we do them together as a family. I don't necessarily assign these as much because I want my kids to learn from me. I want to spend time with them, and it's just more fun to do things together. So if we're able to, we like to do that. We keep our supplies at the point of use. We clean in a circle around a room. So we come in the door of the living room and we go around the room in a circle, cleaning everything that we see and putting things away, wiping it down, vacuuming, dusting, and so on. And from top to bottom, I'm going to get wet in a second, maybe not, from top to bottom in the room as well, because you're going to knock dirt off the ceiling fan. You don't want to vacuum first. So this is just good principles of cleaning. Try to be fast when you clean. Set a timer. Clean to a song. You can have a playlist of music and you have to clean to that. And when you're done, I know, I should probably go in. Tornado?
There's lightning. No, large lightning. But
all right.
he's like, oh, I bet she's going to come in.
Would you be willing to put my cushions away?
Yep, that's what I was wondering.
Oh, thank you. All right, so we're going in. We got a storm, and let me just show you my storm real quick. I don't know if I can.
It's in the front yard.
It's in the front yard, huh? So yeah, I guess you can't see it. All right, guys.
It's getting windy. Actually, I guess it's just a
How am I going to remember where I'm at in that video? Well, I'm back inside now. We've got a little bit of a lull in the storm. It was a little bit crazy there for a second, but I was talking about when you get done cleaning your house and you've all worked together and everything is done. I like this especially on Fridays right before Sabbath is starting. It's just nice to have that well done feeling. So, you know, you kind of look through your house and say, wow, we did it. We did a really good job. You can spray some essential oils. You can light a candle. You can put some soft music on. You can watch a fun video on YouTube or something that is just a treat, something to say everybody did a good job. And I think that is what our Creator did. When He was done with every single day, when He created the world, He looked around and He said, it is good. And then when He got to the very end of the week, He said, it is very good. So I think it's good for us as parents and for ourselves, even when we finish a project, to go, oh, that was good. We need a piece of chocolate. So something to give yourself a little bit of a reward. So we've done our daily jobs, we've done our weekly jobs, we've got our big jobs, we've got the cards for them in our 3x5 card, or we put it in our software, and we have a designated place. So now what we need to do is just think about the couple little logistics around the house to make everything work together. I would have a designated place for things that are going to go out of your house. For instance, bottles and cans that have to be returned to the store, packages that need to be taken to be shipped back out, things that you wanted to give to somebody or remember to take on Sabbath and give to somebody, things that you want to take to Goodwill or your local thrift shop. Returns of any kind because you bought something and got home and it wasn't quite right. So you need a place for that. If you have a mud room, it might be easier. But if you have a small house, you're going to have to make a spot to take all these places so that they're not cluttering up the house. Sometimes the best place is just to go ahead and put it in the back of the car, in the trunk. You also need a place when you're coming in the house to kind of get everything sorted out and organized, and then it can be shipped off to its place that you made for it. So for instance, the mail, when it's coming in, it might need a spot where it can go until you have a chance to go through it. As soon as possible, try to touch the mail just once, and you're going through the mail, and you've got your letter opener, and you're immediately putting in the garbage anything that you don't need. Other things like your car keys, so that you're not running around and getting ready to go out the door and you don't know where the keys are. When we don't remember to put our keys in their designated spot, then this is when we are late because we didn't put them where they belong. So remember, a place for everything and everything in its place, but you've got to have a place for those miscellaneous little things like that. Stamps where for putting on letters. Well, that's a going out thing, but anyway, coats in the wintertime and boots, shoes, groceries, when you come in the house, you have a method and a routine for getting your groceries unpacked and put away in their correct places. Don't just leave them around sitting for a while. When you run out to the store and get something small, don't just leave it in the bag. Get that bag put away, get everything returned to order, okay? You need to have lists so that you don't forget things. Specifically, if you're a mom with young children, you're going to want to have a list of all the things that you pack in the diaper bag. You're going to have a list for all the things that you take on a trip, like a packing list, everything that goes in the suitcases. You're going to want a list for Sabbath of the things that you want to remember to take with you to your local congregation every week, because you might have a lot of things, especially if you eat a meal together and you need to take all the stuff for eating a meal too. Maybe the kids have a playtime afterwards and you're going to want to remember play shoes, and how about a change of clothes for anyone that might wet their pants and things like that. Have a list for things on Friday afternoon. Include getting gas in the car so that you're not purchasing gas on Sabbath. Just all of that. Put it on a list. So remember, say it with me. You want to automate it. You want it to be a habit so that you don't have to think about it over and over again. Have these lists in a handy spot, whatever works for you, and a place that the other people in your family can look at them too is really helpful. Okay. I think the only place we didn't clean out would be like the garage and the front porch and the car cleaning, sheds, barns, things like that. But all the same principles apply. You need a place for everything, and you need a time for everything. And when you have done that, and then a procedure, which would be your list of what needs to be done when. So those things. Toys, I guess we didn't talk about toys, but you want to have, a spot for all your toys, and teach your children that they don't just get the freedom to play with every single thing in your house at the same time. They need to ask to play with a toy, and they need to clean up their toys before they get something else out. Classic toys make less of a mess than those cheap stuff that's like all character related and movie related and, Happy Meal stuff. That's not so good. Go for toys that have them pretending to do the things that they will do in life, pretending to be a mom, pretending to have a farm, pretending to build a house, to build a city, things like that. You're probably going to want to have a craft area for as kids get older. Again, they need, when they're younger, elementary school, they should ask permission before they do it. It should not just be a right. They need to clean up if they're going to keep that privilege, and they need to help with the cost of things. So, as they start doing crafts and stuff, they need to have a way to earn some money so that they're buying it, and you'll find that they take better care of things. And siblings need to make sure that they care for their siblings' things and don't touch stuff and ruin things that they're working on. You're probably going to want a place to put your books, a place to have a snuggle time and a rest area in the afternoon. If you have a lot of children in a small house, you might have to figure out where all that's going to happen. That was definitely something I had to think about. And then consider whether you want to have toys in the bedroom, or do you want to have them in an area where you can supervise that's closer to where you are. Sometimes putting kids in their bedrooms mean they get into trouble, no matter what age they are. Definitely with devices and things, you need to be watching and paying attention to that. Child left to themselves brings their mother to shame, says Proverbs. So that's as much of a brain dump as I could do on how to maintain a house. And I think it just does come back to the same things we've been talking about all week long, that we put things into a classification system and we organize them and we label them, and then we run through that routine, and we, we're like Adam, having dominion over the garden, and we're tending it and keeping it. And whatever you are in charge of in life, you can apply the same principle to, and you definitely want to teach that to your children so that they can do the same. So I hope you'll join us tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for our frequently asked questions time. We're going to take questions from you. I've been collecting questions from the audience all week, and we're going to answer those questions. But best of all, we're going to have prizes. So I hope you'll come back at 9 p.m. Eastern, and that would be 8 p.m. Central, and so on, so that you can come back and see if you can win some prizes. If you can't be there, don't worry. We'll award prizes to anyone who's entered all week. But I hope you can join us. I'd like to hear your questions from everything that we've done this week, and we'll talk about those things during that session. Shalom.
Yippee!